Hello, and welcome
Yay.
back to another episode of Guided by the Unconscious. I am Emily Newman Graves, your co-host with
Danielle Arriaga.
Thank you so much for joining us again. We have a lot to talk about on our second episode. We're going to be covering obviously 3 topics that we kind of planned, and then just having conversations in between, and then ending our podcast with a deep Q&A, just so we could kind of dive in and learn more about each other and how we could help each other improve our lives. If you missed our first episode of Guide by the Unconscious, we kind of just gave a brief description of what this podcast is and means to us, and what we hope our listeners get out of it, which is basically empowering you to find a more authentic, fulfilled, and guided self. And we're on that journey too.
Yes.
So
a work in progress.
Yeah,
as we all are.
Disclaimer: we are not professionals, but we are just
definitely
living our lives, making sure we're happy at the end of the day.
Agreed.
So, but first topic that we'll be talking about is finding a mentor. I don't know, Danielle. Have you had a mentor growing up? Do you have a mentor now? I know that's a big talk right now in where I'm working. I know it's kind of a conversation throughout everybody to see how you grow in your life. And
yeah, I would say mentors they don't have to be a lifelong mentor. They can be, which is great, but I also believe they could be in chapters of your life. So growing up, I didn't really have a mentor per se. You always look up to whether that could be your parents or things like that or whatever. But a mentor, I believe, is very different. And I didn't have my first mentor till, actually it was I met him when I was in college. He was my chiropractor at the time, actually. And then I went to him throughout high school. He was also a personal trainer, physical therapist, he jack of all trades, but very, very knowledgeable. His name is Dr. Pat Brown. So shout out to Pat.
Shout out to Brown.
Yes. And through high school, I would go to his gym because he also owned a gym, which was also a chiropractic office, and loved the way he thought about things and about the client and about the approach to it. Because if you're a personal trainer or anything within that health and fitness world, there's many different styles of teaching kind of the same thing, or many different approaches, and his was unlike anyone I've ever met. He really connected with the client, and it wasn't it wasn't transactional, I should say. It was very personal. Emotional. Yeah. He wanted to get to know you, your story, deep into who you are, in order to help better you.
Which I feel you don't find a lot in your day-to-day chiropractor.
Exactly. Or even trainers.
Yeah.
I've had since then I've had a lot of different training jobs, whether that's with my own gym or in a facility or with his, and I haven't met anyone that really did what he did. And he really, after high school, I got a job working at the gym. I didn't have my training certification or anything at that point, but I really just picked his brain. He taught me so much about personal training and caring for the person and just the body and the mind and wellness. It was just so, every day was something to learn and something to pick on his brain about. And he really helped me mold my form of training and really motivated me, probably unintentionally, to own my own gym. And I knew at a young age that was going to be a goal. I said it, I think it was 13, that I wanted to own a gym. Didn't know how to, I just knew that that's what I want.
Yeah.
And it just happened perfectly, honestly. I worked with him for years. 6 years, maybe even 7 years, and he guided me through everything.
Yeah.
He guided me through my personal training test, which was very difficult to take, and I would read a chapter on mechanics or whatever that may be, whatever the topic was. The next day at work, I would go over it with him, and he would implement it throughout that day.
Oh.
which was
you had your actual text learning, and then you had a visual learning.
Yeah, and he knew
end.
that's how I learn.
Yeah,
I need
in
to
the same
see
way.
it. I need to do it. I need to
be interactive with it. Yeah,
I can't just read it and then go take a test. I will fail.
Hell no.
I'm horrible like that.
I need to do like 7 flashcards, like 7 different variations of flashcards for me to get the concept down.
So he really helped mold me into that, and then he ended up moving to North Carolina, and then we were kind of like, oh my God, like all these clients we've had over the years, where are they going to go? And I just took that opportunity as I could and rolled with it. And then I opened up my own gym. But he, to this day, I mean, we're not as close, obviously, because of distance and things like that. But he 100% was my mentor. And that chapter, in my life.
Yeah.
So I do believe, it is helpful. I don't think it's necessary in life. Like you can always do what you want to do, but it is, for me in that chapter, I think it was perfect.
Yeah. Well, you've always known that you want to do something with fitness and wellness.
Yeah.
So, I mean, being in that atmosphere, I think definitely helped put yourself in the situation of finding somebody that would do that. Not necessarily you were looking for that mentor.
Yeah.
You don't have to look for the person. Like, you don't have to find somebody to like help you guide yourself to a new direction of life, but you definitely can run into somebody that is willing to help you, that have some type of personal passion towards what they're doing and how they could help you kind of grow. And you said like he had such a unique way of doing business and got very personal with his clients and his gym customers.
And it makes an impact. I mean, I don't even think he knows that he was my mentor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's funny how it works out like that. You don't have to have that stereotypical, he knows, we sit down, we talk about your goals and your dreams and things like that. That's fine. That's just not how it ended up happening for me. Mm-hmm. It just so happened he was my chiropractor. Then I needed a job and I knew I loved working out, so I asked him if I could join. I first just started out, tidying up and making sure everything is good and just supervising. Mm-hmm. Obviously, at the time I didn't have my certification for training, so I legally couldn't put them through a workout, but I could observe them and I could make sure that they're not hurting themselves. And it's easy to do that. Like if you have a weight and you're just going, obviously I know what to do.
Proper techniques here. We're not,
exactly.
We are not all Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah. So from then I just got my certification. He helped me through that, and then he helped me through, growing, just as, evolution in your mind and your body and your soul and all that stuff. So he definitely was.
He was an encyclopedia for you.
I literally say that man is an encyclopedia.
Yeah, okay.
You could ask him, I mean, within that realm of what we do.
Yeah.
And he would just go down a rabbit hole of all these different, it was so amazing to pick his brain. I could sit there and talk to him for hours just and absorb all that knowledge. But it is funny because if you ask him, he probably wouldn't think that he's my mentor, but for me,
I mean, he probably will definitely say you had a relationship.
Oh yes,
into a point where he probably definitely got something out of it. He he probably felt very, very what's that word, achievable in a sense, where he's able to pass something down. You took his concept in a sense and tried to apply it to your gym.
100%. I literally did just that, and I learned that for me was the best form of training people, where it was personal. Personal training is personal. And although the books and whatever classes or schooling you get for that may tell you to keep those separate, to a certain degree, I agree, but then at the same time, you have to get personal with people in order for them to trust you.
Especially if it's a healing process.
Yes, having someone train you may seem like, I just hire someone, they do this for me, and then you're done for the day. It takes a lot for someone to sign up for personal training, to have someone teach you in something that you don't know.
You're in a vulnerable spot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So in order to connect with them, you have to get personal. How was your day? Things like that. You never know what they could be struggling with as well. And in a weird, I not alternate universe, but in a weird way, now you can be that mentor for that person. You never know. And it's ironic because I trained a young girl at the time. I think she was in middle school. Now she's almost graduating college, which is
that's crazy.
Makes me feel old because when I first met them, they're young, and then I see pictures on Facebook of their parents, because I follow me and their parents are friends on Facebook, and they're like graduating college, and I'm like,
I mean, yeah, it's like 8-10 years.
Oh my God, it was crazy, yeah. And I actually saw her at Target, her and her sister, and I gravitated towards these sisters because I saw a lot of myself in them. Mm-hmm. They were just tough little girls, and they're not little anymore, but they were tough women. And I reached out to one because I think it was graduation, or she made the dean's list or something. Okay. And I had texted her and I said, I'm so proud of you. I knew you were going to do great in life. And she wrote back and she's like, I'm going to cry. She's like, I actually followed in your footsteps, and I'm working with Pat because he moved back. I'm working with Pat, training people, and I absolutely love it. Oh, and I was like, you have the best mentor. You really do. Like, and she just thanked me, and I didn't think I was a mentor to her because I just think you're just doing your job in a sense and helping them. But it's a mentor is an ironic thing.
Yeah, who knew, just a session with somebody can, change your path.
Because you think it's one hour a day. Mm-hmm. 1 hour out of their entire day doesn't seem like much. Mm-hmm. They've got school, they've got home, they've got friends, they've got work, they've got public. There's so many aspects to their day. What am I as diminishing my thing, but what am I to that 1 hour as to their rest of their day? Mm-hmm. But you don't realize how you can impact someone and make them feel like they're a mentor.
They're going to you an hour a day? That's I don't even have that commitment.
about every day.
I never had a mentor.
It's easily though 5 days a week. Okay. They were consistent. When I mean consistent, they were consistent. Yeah. For whether they were doing their sports in school, they were still coming in, but I give them a lot of credit.
Yeah, no, I definitely give them credit. Yeah, I never had a mentor. I feel like because I've never had that one drive of achieving something. I didn't have I want to focus on fitness. I want to focus on marketing. I always wanted to dabble in different categories, and I feel like that's kind of where I slipped up on getting a mentor, because I would go to something, learn it halfway through, feel like, okay, I could take this skill now, push it towards a new skill. Mm-hmm. And that's what I did, and that's why I wear 7 hats in the office. But I lost the opportunities, I think, for having mentors, because I never really took that drive to really complete something.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I lost it. Yeah. And right now I'm getting pressured onto finding a mentor within my industry. But it's so hard because those mentorships, first off, I'm new to the industry. I'm a woman in a male-dominated world.
2 strikes.
And now I have a pressure on me trying to find a mentor that will help me guide me in the right direction within this industry. But it's so hard to get that relationship with somebody. I can't just email them and be like, "Can you be my mentor?"
Yeah.
I feel like it can be that easy, but it's also you're also taking a lot of time out of someone else's day.
Yes.
And you want to make sure that your time is being valued and their time is being valued as well, especially if this is a very new relationship or a new mentorship. It's like dating.
Yeah,
you
because you gotta find the right one in a sense, and it I will say it is probably tougher. I'm not saying you're pressured to find one, but when there is a pressure to find one, you're just like, oh my God, where do I find this?
Yeah.
Instead of at times it could be just not bestowed upon you, but they just come into your life. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Pat just came into my. He was a chiropractor.
Circling back, we don't look for these, not all the time. Maybe in my situation now, I have the thought in the back of my head of finding a mentor. So when I go to conferences or trade shows or whatever the case might be, and I run into somebody, I'll tick them off my head and be like, okay, maybe this is a personal, somebody that I want to have a relationship with, and take their business card and then do a follow up and see how that goes. But again, it's a tough process. Yeah. But once you find somebody, or you feel like you have somebody that's showing you value to what you love and can make it successful, I think you have something good there.
Agreed. Yeah. And if you do have that person, and it may not be like, hi, I'm your mentor. Hi.
It's not gonna...
It may not be like that, but if you do happen to find that one person that you admire or you look up to, and you wanna know more and be more and can achieve more with them in your corner, pick their brain on everything you want to ask them.
There's no stupid
ask
questions.
them.
Yeah.
And if they're older, because ironically enough, mentors could be younger than you or older than you. It doesn't always have to be some old wise person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that box is definitely obsolete, but definitely pick their brain, because again, they may not be in your life forever. They may be that chapter, like Pat was. That chapter of my life, he was my mentor. And honestly, anything I had a question on, it could have been not fitness related or anything, or fitness related, or finances, or business wise. Like, there's so many different aspects. And if I had a question, I would just I would ask them.
Yeah.
Pick their brain, because all of their knowledge will be an asset to you.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, you're like kind of passing down a legacy of like their way of, having a successful business. Like, that's all, like, you probably
100%.
got pushed to him because of his success, because how he treated people, how he ran his business. And I think that's a huge thing to look at and see.
Yeah.
Like, if you see someone that's successful and you want to be in those shoes, then like go up to that person and be like, how did you get here? Like, show me your way.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think there should
be no embarrassment or no shyness into any of that. If that person has something knowledge-wise that you want to know more and pick on, you go for it.
Yeah.
Because it's only going to bring you better knowledge. Mm-hmm. You're either going to know what to do, or you're either going to know what not to do. And either way, that's an asset in itself.
Yeah.
And having these people in your life, and you can pick from and you can add to your arsenal, by the end, like, you have so much knowledge of things you've went through and learned, but also what they've went through and they've learned, so that you don't have to make the same mistakes or decisions or whatever.
Exactly. It's not always about the success, it's about the failures too. You can't have success without failures. And if you are going through something that's really tough and you don't want to like fall on your face by yourself, like having that mentor, having that support next to you, like they will guide you through, and they might fall with you. They'll be like, it's okay. Like, sometimes it's okay to fall down, but you gotta get up.
It's almost necessary. It's I like you said, like, a failure is not a failure. A failure is going to teach you what not to do your next time. Like, it shouldn't be, I failed at this. That's it. Like, I'm not going to do it again. No. That's when you fail. When you've given up on something after 1 fail or 2 fail or 3 fail or 4, 5, 6. You have to take those lessons with you and say, okay, well, now I'm more knowledgeable in this because I know what not to do.
Exactly.
Or what to stay away from, or how to do something else. It's all good.
Yeah.
It may suck.
No, it definitely does.
Trust me.
Like, once you're in that moment, like, you definitely feel the failure, but you'll look back and be like, oh my God, like, what am I kidding? That was probably like a piece of cake compared to probably what's happening now, or whatever your situation is.
100% true. And just like, to side note that, when I had to close the gym, those I closed it, those couple months, maybe half of a year after that, like, I felt like I lost everything. Like, my identity, like, because everyone knows me, is that fitness person, right? Now I have this gym, and unfortunately the pandemic, which ruined us all, but those last months or half a year after that was like, what? It felt like my world came down. I was great at hiding it, to be honest, but on the inside I was like, I failed this.
What do I do now?
I failed this. Yeah. I don't know how to do this. I couldn't do this, and you always just obviously nitpick and pull yourself down. But at this point, and it took a while, I closed the gym almost 2 years ago. And it's just taken me till now to realize and feel comfortable with that failure. And realize that I didn't fail it. First of all, I was doing great. Just so happened that a pandemic hit and I had to be closed for X amount of months.
Yeah,
and
you
make
had
no money.
consequences that came
Exactly.
that were just
And
something
that's
you
what I
couldn't
have
handle.
to accept. Is that it?
Sometimes things are out of your realm and you just
That's
can't.
completely it. That was it. Legally, gyms, you could not train anyone. You couldn't have a gym open, or else you would get fined or shut down, or like bigger things. But yes, your failures are not a negative to you. They're only going to help you. And at the moment, it may not feel like it, but down the road, you're going to be like, oh,
Yeah.
that's why I had to go through that. But yes, it does suck in the moment, but trust me, it gets better.
Definitely appreciate the little successes.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh yes, I agree.
But having a mentor, I think, is something good. Just, I guess, recapping, you don't have to have a mentor all your life. You could have 30 mentors, you could have one mentor, you could have 0 mentors. Like right now, I'm at 0, and that's totally okay. I'm perfectly fine with having no mentors.
It is okay.
But it's okay. But if you are looking for somebody to do that, like, you do have to put in the work and the relationship and make sure that you're showing your passion towards what you want to achieve.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that's like an important thing to try and put towards your life, is to have somebody to
anyone.
even if that's your brother, a parent figure, an uncle, an aunt,
and
a
they
cousin,
could be so short in a
your postman.
It could be a mentor you've had. Maybe they're only in your life for a month or like a week. You may meet someone that you're just enamored by their knowledge and what they've done and things like that, and you could pick their brain. That could be a mentor for you.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? It could be anyone at any time, any place. It doesn't have to be your entire life, and it doesn't have to be a big chunk of your life. It could just be someone that is going to offer you the help and knowledge.
It could just be something that helps you get over a hump for the next day.
Yeah.
Like, that's honestly.
Yeah. I completely agree.
Yeah. What do you feel about so I think that was a good topic. I guess we'll just go. We kind of.
The next one.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. This next topic is really.
Yeah. So I
strong opinion.
have had a conversation with a friend, and I would love to know your opinion on this.
Yes.
Is like, what is an unacceptable pet, like a household pet, to have? This conversation I had with a very dear friend of mine. I love you, Bethany. It's fucking weird. Cockroaches. Lee was talking to me how she made a house of acrylic, like custom made a house of acrylic with windows and doors and everything, functional windows and doors.
Oh, that
for her pet cockroaches. Luckily, they weren't there. It was just the house.
They were.
So
They were visiting a friend.
I'm a little concerned where they might be in the house. No, just kidding. No, they definitely were not in the house.
Oh, she lets them roam free.
No, but she showed me the house and everything, and she was like, "Yeah, this is where I put my cockroaches." And I'm like,
"You're what?"
That's an unacceptable pet.
100%.
Especially you live in Brooklyn. They stay outside.
Yes, and especially in New York, that's like. Okay, I just can't imagine coming home from a long day and wanting to see your cockroaches.
Yeah, let me.
That just like gives me the chills.
Yeah.
I can't look at an insect and think it's cute.
Yeah, I think
As a pet.
the only insect pet I've had, and I think a lot of children have had, were the butterflies.
Yes,
like during
those monarch butterflies.
Yeah, I think that's cute because you let them go at the end.
Exactly, and they're pretty. But a cockroach that are known to be in like garbage can, you know what I mean? Like a dirtier.
They survive an atomic bomb.
Yes.
Why?
Could you cut their head off and like they could still live?
Can they?
I remember seeing something.
That's really
I may
unsettling.
be wrong. We'll have to fact check that.
Okay, I'm confused.
And
we should probably do this more.
And they're just like. Oh no! I do have a relative who has. Yeah, wait. Do it right in there. Chris. Had to get that in there. and they have rats. And I'm not talking about a hamster or like a
gerbil.
Like, yeah, not
Those are. I've had those. Those are cute. Not
a sewer rat.
a rat.
Like, I don't think they got them off the road or any sewer in New York. I'd hope not. First of all, where do you buy rats? Because I don't see them in Petco. I see like cuter.
Some pet stores definitely do have rats. I definitely
When you think of a rat, picture a rat right now. The scenery is not a home. It's a subway. It's a street. It's an alley. It's a garbage can. It's not your home.
Yeah, occasional living room with some
where
hay.
No, and I'm not talking about one rat. I think there's like 3.
Yeah, well,
could be 4.
I heard apparently, so rats actually, like, they're kind of like, what's that, like a guinea pig? Like, they can't be alone. Like, they have to bond with each other, so if they have one, they could, like, die of loneliness.
That's so funny, because they're so ugly.
If you look at Ratatouille, like, they have, like, a huge family. Not to, like, use a cartoon as, like, an analogy, but, like, they're very family-oriented. So, they'd like to have...
So gross.
Like, if they have one, they need to have another, or 2 or 3 more. Again, one's too many. One is way too many.
It is. You think of like the cleanliness of it.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, we're not in the Black Plague we're not doing like rats, but like they do carry diseases.
Yeah.
Like I mean any animal.
Or
really
even
can,
just like. You think of like giving your pet a bath, right? I think of like a dog, and they're like, and how do you wash your rat? Like, do you?
I think they still do. They clean themselves.
That's so gross.
I don't know.
And I think of their little their like faces with their little things, and like, I can't.
Yeah,
I can't.
No.
Rats are no. Cockroaches are a big no, and rats are a no.
Yeah. I would say also adding to that list, tarantulas. I know a lot of people that like tarantulas, and I'm so happy for you that you are a strong person that can handle
a strong, independent
person to have a tarantula in your presence. Like I freak out. Like I cannot fall asleep knowing that there's a spider in my room.
Yeah,
like I have to turn the whole room upside down, and before I can go anywhere, if I can't find that spider by bedtime, I'm sleeping. I'm sleeping in my car, or I'm going to a hotel. Like I'm not okay.
And you know what? It's honestly any spider for me. I don't like spiders, and I don't know where I was where there was a spider, and I went to kill it, and someone was like, "No, don't kill it because it eats all the other insects in your house." I'm like, I don't care.
It's true. Like there are some spiders. I'm just like, you're lucky. Like, but then there's other days.
Because I'm like,
yeah, no. There's definitely days where like I'll kill a spider and I'll be like, tell your fucking friends, like,
tell your homies what I did to you.
Real quick on a spider story. So I had a terrible 3 days of commuting because I was like in this like era of like picking up like furniture off the side of the road and like refurbishing it and stuff. So I got this like desk. It was like a nice desk that came off. It was so heavy I couldn't bring it into the house. So at least stayed in our our patio for months. I'm like the whole summer went by. Our neighbor like 2 down hired like a dump truck because he was redoing the whole inside of his house. And we're like, oh, perfect. Like, can we use it to, like, throw some stuff out? Because I'm like, I'm throwing this desk out. Like, it's been sitting here. It's obviously not a project anymore. Yeah. It held up, though. It did. It was good wood. It was freaking heavy, though. So Ryan and I were like, okay, we'll drag it over towards the dumper and then break it apart and then throw it in the dump. Halfway through breaking this desk down, I realized there is a whole ecosystem inhabiting itself within this desk, and did not realize until we threw half of the desk away. And I looked down, and I have spiders all over my legs. Ryan has spiders all over him, and they're like little black tiny spiders. Like you couldn't even you would think it was like a little fuzz on you. Like it was not okay.
Worst nightmare.
So I had a terrible night of sleeping because of that situation. I showered. I felt disgusting. Next day, I'm like, okay, luckily the desk is gone. There's no spiders on my patio. I'm like, we're good, we're good. I'm driving Ryan's Jeep to work, and I open the door, and cobwebs all in the front passenger and driver's side.
Oh no,
and
I'm burning that car.
Little spiders everywhere. I'm like, I destroyed their home, so they made a new home in my car.
They said
which was
back.
Not okay. It's like 7:20 in the morning. I run inside. I'm like, Rye, we got a situation. We got a situation in the car. And he was like, what? And I'm like, there's spiders everywhere in the Jeep. And he was like, I don't know what to do. Like, what do you want me to do with it? Like, you got to just like wipe them away. So I'm like, okay, I'm running late for work now because I'm stressing. I grab my like little Swiffer wand and I go in and I just start wiping them all up in the car. I'm shaking it out. I'm like, okay, I gotta drive. I'm a 30-minute commute south, and the whole commute, I just kept seeing spiders drop down. I'm like wiping.
So dangerous, by the way.
Oh my god, no! I was stressing.
The cop pulls you over for drunk driving.
This went on for 3 days. 3 days. I could not get the spiders out of the car. I ended up going to a car wash. I think that was like a Monday. This is now Thursday at 10 a.m. I'm like, I'm itchy. I'm like itchy. I'm freaking out. I'm so uncomfortable in my skin.
Yeah.
And I like go up to my coworker. He's like the office next to me. I'm like, I'm going to Home Depot or I'm going to car wash or something. Like, someone's got to clean this car.
Yeah.
Like, it needs to get
exterminated.
Yes. And so I go get a car wash. I'm like, I want details. Like, I don't care if it's like $500. Detail the fuck out of this car. And they're like, well, you need an appointment for detailing. And I'm like, can you just spray it? Spray it. I don't care. Do something. So I go in. I get like a normal car wash. The guy comes to me and was like, we didn't solve the spider problem. I'm like, okay. Like, here's $50 for nothing. And then he was like, look, go to Home Depot and get a fogger and fog your car. And I'm like, okay. So now I'm driving.
Smoke bomb?
Yeah. So I drove to Home Depot. I picked up a freaking case of them because I was like, I don't know what to do. And I go back to work. I close up all my windows and everything. I put a fog bomb in my car and I let it sit for like 2 hours while I work and stress out about what the hell's happening into my car. After the couple hours, I go outside, I open the door, and it was spider webs, but like everything was dead. But there was spider webs. Like, there was some frantic scene.
Can you imagine what they were thinking?
I
don't care.
Yeah, I hope it was some terrible thoughts because they did not deserve, that was not their home. It was no right.
They weren't paying no rent?
It was no rent. No. So and then I did 2 more bombs after that, just
Smart.
for good
I would
measure.
use that whole thing.
Oh, I did.
I
was so
bombed
bad.
5 at times. 5 at a time.
Yeah, no. So, but spiders not a pet.
No tarantulas. No rats. No spiders. No monkeys.
Yeah, monkey.
Dude.
Yeah. Who has the right?
I can't remember when this was, but this was years ago. Florida. We all know crazy shit happens in Florida. Crazy people.
Good
Florida,
old Florida
too. Yeah. This woman.
Country of Florida.
This woman raised an orangutan. Okay. I don't care if you raised it from the moment it came out of the womb. They still have genetic instincts. Because you hand feed it and because you're a human taking care of it does not erase the hundreds of thousands of years
of slinging
of genetic
orangutans are, I think, known to be aggressive.
They are. They're huge.
Yeah.
They're huge. So she thought this was a pet.
Are they the ones with the pink butts?
No,
chimpanzees?
No, they're the orange ones, orangutans. They're
oh
big,
yeah, that's right.
like orange hair.
Yeah.
And they have like big boobs too.
Okay. No, I've definitely seen that on Animal Planet, like them breastfeeding. Yeah.
They're nice to look at behind a glass in a zoo.
Yeah.
But
confined.
to have in your own home, like exactly. You're also taking it out of its natural born environment that it should be living in. But anyway, and this woman would take it around like it was a small little Maltese, like going to the stores. It would sit in the car. She would put it in the back. It had its own
It had a car
seat. Yup. And then one day, I don't know if she lived, honestly, after this. We'll have to see. But it literally ripped her face off. Like, full face, skin off. So I don't care how much you loved it, how much you coddled it, how much it loved you, I guess. It's a monkey.
Yeah.
That orangutan was now not a baby. It was obviously a full-blown orangutan.
And this poor thing now probably has to be, like, justified.
Yeah.
He hurt a human
like,
being.
let's say that, picture that scenario. She was in the car. So whether she was parked or driving, I'm pretty sure she was parked.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say, cops and animal control has to come to the scene. They're gonna euthanize that animal. Like, there's no other way for them to grab the animal safely without them getting hurt as well. So unfortunately, they were probably gonna have to kill that monkey.
Yeah.
Because some woman wanted an orangutan as a pet.
And that's horrible too, because even if they maybe didn't, euthanize the chimpanzee, then or orangutan. It probably would have such a difficult time if they did put him back into an environment that he's supposed to be in.
Totally different world.
Yeah.
Like, obviously instincts
That's
take in
just so
play,
unfair.
but taking its social interactions away from other orangutan. Like, I'm pretty sure she didn't have orangutan dates. Like, you weren't play dating with other orangutans.
Specific species too.
Like,
all
crazy.
my life, I wanted an orangutan.
Right?
So
and now you're
where do you
maybe dead, or you have no face. Like,
yeah.
even Florida with having the tigers, they have full-blown tigers in their backyards because it's legal in Florida to own a tiger. Why?
Yeah, that doesn't.
Why? That thing.
I'd rather have like a manatee.
Is
like, yeah, right.
Yeah, something cute. At least
they're native to Florida.
Exactly. Like, can you imagine this life of
king?
a tiger wherever it was born, transported all these different places, and now it's in someone's Floridian backyard?
I don't think I'm ever going to visit Florida ever again.
Right.
I just like it's
crazy.
It's crazy. Like Disney is like almost not appealing to me now just because it's in Florida.
First of all, the first most appealing. Thank you. The price. I went to Disney as a kid. I don't like remember it, but I obviously remember like Magic Kingdom and like rides and things like that.
The fairy tale
I'm sure like I had a great time as a kid. And Grant actually has never been to Disney World, which is fine. But he was like, I wonder what it, like, I like kind of want to, everyone goes to Disney, wants to see what all the hype
I
is
definitely
about.
want to drink around the world. We should definitely do a trip.
Which also the drinks, why are they so expensive?
Yeah, that's like $27 for like a rum and Coke.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. I mean, granted, I would say Disney is probably one of the most well orchestrated organizations. So, all right, fun fact. When we went to Disney, and this was told by my dad, I was way too young, there are a lot of rules in Disney. So as a customer, as a whatever you want to call it, a woman cannot have like spaghetti straps showing too much, or they will tell you that it's inappropriate, and they will give you a ticket, like a voucher for a free T-shirt at any gift shop.
I would just start walking around in my bra.
Facts. Like, first of all, those t-shirts are probably like $65.
Yeah, wait, no, I definitely see like a solution here to like get your money back.
Free T-shirt.
Just walk around in a tube top or a spaghetti strap.
Exactly.
And just collect as many vouchers as possible. Get those Disney T-shirts, and then go to the parking lot and then sell those T-shirts.
Sell business opportunity right here. But yeah, they are. Disney is a crazy organization, but it's in Florida.
Yeah. Yeah, where the monkeys and tigers are.
Yeah, like you're just trying to go pick up your prescription at CVS, and you pull up into the parking lot, and this lady next door has a orangutan. Yeah. I don't need that prescription. I'm pulling right back out. I don't need it that bad.
Yeah, I'll just fetch it.
I'm good.
Yeah.
We'll go to Walgreens.
No, I swear, like monkeys, I read that like I think it was monkeys and otters are now in like the Stone Age of like the timeline of evolution.
Yeah.
You know, like we once were monkeys and we evolutionized through to become who we are today. And monkeys and otters are in like the Stone Age, so they're using tools to help with everyday needs when it comes to food or travel
Survival.
or survival. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever the case may be. Which I think is insane. As monkeys and otters, I guess, are getting smarter, we are dumbing down. We are
Honestly.
getting to the most simplistic ways of life and
Too simplistic, too easy.
Taking things for granted.
Yeah, and less problem solving. Like,
Yeah.
like you give. I don't know if you've ever seen a video of an otter like trying to open up a clam
So
or like
freaking
a
cute.
yeah, like a something where there's something inside. It's a sea.
Oh, they do sea urchins.
That's what it is.
Yeah, the little spiky.
And you'll see them like either on a rock or something hard, or they'll clamp two to get, and they'll open it. Like, how did? That's that's smart.
It's evolution. It's
Yeah.
their brains
And here-
adapting to a new
That's
way of.
Was it
of life.
Charles Darwin? Like your evolution
Yeah.
through life, you adapt to the life you are now, and as life goes on and your generations go on, you should be getting smarter.
Yeah.
Unlike us, where everything has become easier and easier and easier, and things are being taken away as far, like even in school, we learn script.
Yeah.
To any younger generation, they don't teach it in school
No.
at all. Like they don't even talk about it. I had a client one time, and he was very, very young, probably in 4th or 5th grade at the time. And when you come to the gym, you have to sign a waiver, so obviously he's too young. His mom has to come in and sign it. On the bottom, signature, it says, right? So your signature is your name in cursive. And
Definition.
yes, just in case anyone did not know that, any of you youngins out there. And the kid's watching his mom write her signature. And he's like, what is that? Like, he just was so enamored. Like, you just drew one line and it's your name.
Yeah.
And I was just so taken back. I'm like, that's your signature. That's your name. Like, you sign it in cursive. This kid had no idea.
No,
what
it's
cursive
really
was.
sad to
It's
see
weird.
this. I think it's the generation below us, and then further
And on.
and then on.
Yeah,
have
100%.
they're not teaching it anymore. And like my typography, like how I write, is I would say is like a combination between script and print. Yeah, like it's just like it sways through. I love script. Like I love how fluent. It's so fluent. It's like
And it could be really beautiful. If you have good handwriting,
so beautiful. It's like so elegant. It just like it
adds
adds. It's a
something.
different message between print. Like as a graphic designer, like using typography, like that is a message. Like fonts, how you write and type, like is a
could
message.
say a
and
lot too.
It can,
like,
yeah.
So I'm planning a wedding now, and I'm just relating it to what I'm doing now. And even as far as like invitations, right? You're gonna get an invitation, and when you look at it, and let's say it just has in print, Mr. and Mrs. Graves, like it, which is fine, but then you see it in script. It's like Mr. and Mrs.
Yeah.
It's elegant. It's timeless. It's like regal. It has
It's its own
just
era.
It has its own message in what you read. Just like if you have something bold and like print and it's aggressive, it's harsh. It gives that feeling.
Yeah.
So I just feel like if we lose that's a whole
an
language
impact.
in itself.
Yeah.
Because if you take some 10-year-old right now and you give them Declaration of Independence, because we're going to get into that,
Yeah.
they can't read it.
No. So I did hear about like a conspiracy theory. If any conspiracy theorists.
Yeah.
Theorists
Out there.
Conspiracy theorists. I'm gonna stick with that.
Again,
are out there.
Fact check that.
Yeah. That like they stopped teaching scripts, so they don't know how to read the Declaration of Independence. Like it's a way of like losing your independence in a way.
That's
way.
literally
It's
it.
like kind of
It's literally
the irony in this world, like drives me insane.
It's crazy because you think about it. As the generations go on, we're gonna die off eventually. That generation that is 10 or even younger, or even younger than us at all,
Yeah.
they're not gonna know what that says, right? So then as time goes on, that person who does know what that says and what that means, because it's a language in itself that no one can read, that's also scary because you think about power. Anyone who knows knowledge is power. The more you know, more power you have.
Yeah, so why take away something so simple as a way of writing?
Yeah.
Like how, like, we've complained to life, like how we've evolutionized between, you know, learning tools, how to speak, how to write. Like, illiteracy was a huge part of our nation, you know, 200 years ago. And now we're kind of going back to a point where, like, we don't need to have script. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah. And it's going to be scary to who does know
laws.
it when the majority doesn't, and you don't know their intentions behind it. They could tell you it means something crazy, and they know it's not that, but you don't, because you don't know what it says.
Yeah. Wait. Like, so I kind of used an example. So I don't know if anybody's watched the movie Book of Mormon. It is a great Book of Mormon? No, I'm sorry, the Book of Eli.
Yes.
I was like, wait, no, I'm like, right, that's a play, the Book of Mormon. So, the Book of Eli. I heard the Book of Mormon though was a great play and very hilarious.
I haven't seen it, but
go to Broadway, support your theaters. No, Book of Eli, great movie. It has Mila Kunis and Denzel Washington, and they're basically in like no man's land, end of the world, and everyone's fighting for power. And there's this like really nasty, you know, group of people that are trying to seize that power, and that power is knowledge, is leadership. And throughout the chaos, all books have been burned. Like, there's no way of knowing how to survive. But this gentleman, Denzel Washington's character, has the only book of Christ with him. And throughout the movie, everybody's trying to get this book from him, because that book is how you could rule the world.
Yeah, all the power.
Spoiler alert, he does end up, you know, saving himself, saving the book, and putting it in a safe spot. But the movie, like, everybody in the movie is blind, which is kind of the irony, because the book that he's carrying is a Bible in Braille, and he is the only one that knows how to read Braille. And at the end of the movie, he asks the guy, like, he's like, let me read this to you, but I don't know how to write. Can you write this down for me? And Louis spent the rest of his life in this library, hidden away on, like, Alcatraz, I think it was. Jesus. Like, you really had to, like, go to a crazy island, very hard to get to, and sat down with somebody to, like, read over, like, what this book is about, and then just keep it there. Crazy. Like, it's not for anyone else's, like, knowledge or power. Like, he kept that there just to, like, preserve it.
Yeah, that is crazy.
But it takes away, how the message of text, like how powerful it can be, and how you could take that and totally take it to your advantage and have it either go good or bad. Yeah.
It could be great, and they could be doing good, and then it could go into the hands of the wrong person whose intentions are not so pure and can control the way they want to control.
Yeah. That
is a little scary.
I feel like we should start, like, a scripts lesson.
Right?
Here's the ABCs
Lesson
of
1.
scripts.
I remember in, oh my God, might have been like first or second grade. I believe it was second grade. Mrs. Kua. How crazy is it that I can name my kindergarten? Not first, though. I can't remember who. Mrs. Matasara. Never mind. Yep, Mrs. Matasara. So I can go from kindergarten to 5th grade and name every teacher, but I can't remember 6th grade up until college.
Huh.
I don't know why.
I can't remember any of them.
I always remember my kindergarten teacher. She literally was one of the most amazing people ever. Like, where I went to school, I went to a Catholic school, but it was in an inner city, so a lot of minorities. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, when you live in an inner city, there's a lot of turmoil, broken households, things like that, a rougher way of living. Mm-hmm. And these kids would come, and you had all walks of life. You would have some with, no parents, and their grandparents were taking care of them. Kids who only had one pair, because it was Catholic school, it was a uniform. You had to wear the uniform. Who had one pair of uniforms and would wear that 7 days in a row. Like, it was kind of sad, but she was somehow had this magic of making all of these kids, unruly or not, pay attention, walk in a single file line. No one spoke while she was speaking. You did your it was crazy. She just had this like
She had that
magic.
power, yeah.
And everyone would be like, how do you get them to walk like to lunch, single file line, not a single kid spoke? In kindergarten.
Yeah.
Every kid in kindergarten is like,
Which shows so much. Like, I just went to Asbury Park with my mom for lunch, like, on Wednesday. And there was, like, a little school, like, a charter school. I think it was, like, two teachers and, like, 12 kids. Like, probably all, like, maybe fourth grade.
Okay.
Like, little
To the
kids.
beach?
Yeah, they were cute. I honestly have no idea.
Yeah.
But they were all, like in their own uniforms and everything. I don't know what they were doing. But we just, like, ran some after lunch because we were on the boardwalk. And the teacher, like, we're crossing the street and we're behind them. I'm like, we're stuck in middle school. But where they're crossing the street and the head teacher was like, okay, kids, let's go into file line. One of them went into file line and the teacher just kept walking anyway. I'm like that's where like you have the moment of a lesson where you're like, okay, well, we're not crossing the street until you listen to me because like your lives matter.
You could die.
Yeah.
Don't scare them. But scare them.
No.
But
again, like it's their point where like, okay, you gotta help teach these kids some discipline or some safety and awareness. Yeah,
that's the thing.
They were all curious about this little ladybug that was on the one classmate, and I stuck behind these guys for way too long.
She's like, I know where they go to school. I know what his grade is in math.
Yeah. Oh no, Mateo and I, we're best friends now. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, it is. I think it was either first or second grade about script, and we had the paper, and it would have the line and the dotted line in the middle.
You had to trace over them.
You had to trace over and over and over again. And I remember Mrs. Kua being like, you can't go to, which I don't even know if they can do that, but whatever. She's like, you're not going to lunch and recess until you properly write your name in cursive. And there was one kid, he just was stubborn. Like, he could do it, he just didn't care.
Yeah.
He didn't care if he didn't eat or didn't go to recess, which is annoying because then, like, how do you leverage power over them? But anyway, but yeah, that was embedded in me. Script.
Yeah.
Script
and your times tables. Like, I feel like those were, like, the two things that
PTSD from friggin' times tables.
Yeah.
I'm not a math person at all. I'm a science... That's about it. I really like science. But I remember my parents trying to teach me my times tables. And I would sit at... This literally brings me back because my parents still have the same dining room table. And I sit at it. And I'm like, PTSD. Oh, my God. Yeah. My dad would be like, you have to learn... Like, let's say it was the 7 times tables or whatever. And he's like, you're going to sit here until you memorize them all. And I literally couldn't. Like, I did pass because I'm here. Yeah. And I'm not in 5th grade anymore.
Done some times tables.
No.
Trivia or something.
I literally would fail it.
7 times 7.
Because, like, you're putting me on the spot.
Oh, okay.
I can't do it.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. It's 49.
She's like, oh,
I only chose that because I knew that answer.
I know 1 times 1. Anything times 0
is 0. Anything times 0.
But yeah, that was very...
We're so smart.
Traumatizing for me. But yeah, if you lose script, you literally lose that whole aspect of our language. It's just that's it. Like, you take that away. Someone writes in 100 years from now, if they stop teaching it all in all, and someone tries
to read anything from our history,
you wouldn't know what the R's were because they don't look like an R.
Yeah.
The S's, the M's and N's.
I'm pretty sure like a Q looks like a T.
Yeah, or a J.
Yeah,
like a capital J looks weird.
And a Z doesn't look like a Z.
No.
Yeah.
No.
It is kind of it's pretty messed up.
It is. It is.
It's a pretty messed up.
It feels like a different language.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And they don't know that, then...
Yeah, I mean, look at all of these, like, letters from, like, old troops. All of these, like, old...
Wow, yeah.
You know, I'm thinking, like, all these, like, love stories between people, like, between wars, between anything. Like,
yeah.
You mentioned... How are you supposed to...
read it. Or understand that aspect of life or history. And it's funny you mentioned the letters, so we don't repeat it. Yeah. But here we are. The letters. This was in... maybe 5th grade, 4th or 5th grade, And my dad had a friend who was stationed in Afghanistan, like a family friend, and was in the like thick of it. And he went on a couple tours, and every time he came back, he was like worse and worse. The PTSD was crazy for him. And I remember, I don't know who initiated it, but my classroom decided to write him a letter because he was doing really bad. I think he saw some stuff, and even some of his crew, he would unfortunately have to watch die. Yeah. Like, it was some traumatic stuff. So we wrote him and his platoon. Obviously it's very lighthearted because it's 5th grade and we don't understand.
Support the troops.
Yeah, we're like, we love you and we hope you come back to barbecues
God.
And like, all this weird stuff, right?
Yeah, optimistic.
Yeah, you're very innocent.
Yeah.
And he wrote back in cursive. And I, to this day, have that letter. Oh. And it was crazy. He obviously doesn't go into detail of
the words.
4th grade. Yeah. But I remember him saying that it was like 115 degrees out. It's long days. It's kind of hard to sleep, things like that. And he can't wait to come home to his family and to see everyone and things like that. And, God forbid that letter finds its way anywhere in this world when I pass. Someone who reads that is not going to know about that war and what in the perspective of that person who's in that. Yeah. And even things like that, that's history. Mm-hmm. That's stuff that, I obviously, and we don't know what it feels like to be there. Mm-hmm. Never been there. I mean, I can empathize, but I could never fully understand or feel that. Yeah. But to maybe if you knew script and to read what he went through and be like, oh my God, he's wearing
words are impactful. Yeah.
It's way more impactful, I think, than people understand.
Yeah. We definitely take writing for granted. Yeah. We definitely do.
100%.
I think it's a tool that we use every day, or I guess
so
almost every day.
Like just
but now like we use excuse me, we use like DocuSign now to sign our stuff. Like Adobe, weird. Like I go in and stamp it and sign it and I call it a day. But it's not my signature. It's not what my signature looks like on paper at all. They're
made up ones.
It's scripts, but it's like legible scripts. Yeah. Like it's a pretty like it's very simple. Like, okay, you can kind of understand.
Scary because, like, let's say I got that email and I'm not Emily, obviously. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, okay, let's sign. Type in Emily Newman Green. And then boom, populates it. It's technically signed by her. You know what I mean? Like, that's scary.
Yeah, it is scary. I'm like, there's a reason why you sign the back of your license. You know, like there's
exactly. Or a check. Well, do people use checks anymore?
I use checks. I have to pay my rent somehow. Like,
exactly. Or you deposit a check. Some places you have to.
Or like when you
sign the back.
Go to a wedding, like I'll write a check to. Like people definitely use checks still.
So you know, there's things where your personal signature via your hand solidifies something that's only for you.
That's so authentic. I mean, look at all these celebrities and like professional players that have all of this memorabilia with their signatures on it. Like you get a Ricky Mantle T-shirt for like $80,000 just because it has a signature on it. Like
crazy. But let me DocuSign my name and send it to some. You know, like
we're losing touch in like humanity.
Yeah,
honestly, we're losing touch.
We just gave up on you.
We did.
But yeah, that is our script is dead, but our deep Q&A.
Yeah, so I think leading into our conversation about like script, like when do you disobey the law? So say that like it becomes illegal to have any script whatsoever. Like when is it okay to? That's like a poor example.
No, but you get it.
But it goes into like when is it acceptable
okay to do that?
To disobey the law when it comes to script? I know there's different laws changing, but
I know it's such a gray topic because there's every case should be taken differently, mm-hmm. right? So there was a case where this woman had passed away. I think she might have been raped, and then the guy just killed her. I don't know if it's a boyfriend or whatever. But this woman lost her life at the hands of this man. And it was his court case. So, obviously, he's guilty. Like, you did it.
Hella guilty.
Yeah, and he was being sentenced. Now, in the courtroom was the father of that daughter, and whether it was her sisters and her mom or just her sisters, but her immediate family. Mm-hmm. And first of all, you see this father and you can just see the pain in his eyes that he has to endure now for the rest of his life because his daughter's passed.
Yeah, he lost
something. And looking across the room and seeing the man that did that, I can't even imagine the like rage you have inside of you.
Like you're boiling.
Like I would just explode. And at the end, I guess right before he was being convicted, the judge was like, "Does anybody, have any further evidence, whatever?" And he raises his hand. He's like, "Can I just say something, Judge, please?" And he's asking the judge for just a couple minutes alone with
the man.
We'll call him prisoner because he is a prisoner right now. And she's
the guilty party.
Yeah, the murderer. And obviously that's not allowed. You can't allow that.
Yeah.
And the judge is like, I understand this may be very hard for you, but I can't allow that. Mm-hmm. Like legally, obviously, you understand that, but morally, you don't understand it.
Yeah.
And he just flipped and he went directly towards the murderer. And he got his hands on, I don't think he actually got what he should have gotten in, punches or anything, honestly, before obviously the cops came and pulled him apart. But the sad thing is the father got charged with aggravated assault. And it's like, okay, I understand if you take away the murder out of it, one person cannot assault another person. I get that. But he murdered his daughter.
Yeah.
And you're going to tell me that man can't at least throw him a couple jabs?
Yeah.
A couple? A right hook?
No.
Really? Like a black and blue eye? He deserves way more than that.
Yeah.
But
he'll get what it's coming in prison,
yes.
But I feel like...
At the hands of a father,
I feel like the judge could have been like, just like five minutes.
Way.
Yeah, like look this way. You got 5 minutes in this room. Have a cop out the door. Turn the cameras off. Let the dad have it.
Because let's face it, that has happened.
Yes.
Like they have allowed it, whether it's connections or whatever. But I don't think that
it's
dad.
not just on TV shows.
Yeah, no, really though. That dad should not have been convicted of that because God forbid it ever happened to like the judge. You understand why he wants to beat the shit out of that guy.
Yeah.
Come on. Like, he's obviously going to go to jail. But let me get my 2 cents in before that, because that would help me a little bit. Honestly, it's not going to bring her back, but it would help me mentally.
Yeah.
And I always joke around with my dad, even though it's not really that much to joke around about. But he's like, I can't remember what we were talking about, and this topic came up. And stone cold, like, looked at me and he goes, I will gladly rot in jail killing someone if they ever hurt you or killed you.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh. All right.
Thanks,
you are literally a ride or die.
Right back at you.
Yeah. But seriously, like, I can't imagine. I don't have kids. So I can't imagine how that would actually feel.
Yeah.
The closest thing I have to something like that is my little brother. I mean, he's not so little, but he is younger than me. Mm-hmm. And if anyone hurt him, knock on wood, I would lose my shit. Mm-hmm. Like, for even an example.
Yeah, I would say
I have some anger that could be released at times, and this was one of those times. He plays rugby. An aggressive sport. And he's
very
if
aggressive.
You know my brother, he's not like the biggest. When you think of rugby, you think of like thighs this big, like,
shredded.
He's not. Yeah. He's small compared to most rugby players, but we went to go and watch him play, and obviously I've never watched rugby. I know what rugby is. I've never watched it. Watching it in person is honestly really fun.
It is.
When it's not someone you know out there.
Yeah.
Because they get hurt really bad. They don't wear what
no.
football players wear, like the padding and the they wear nothing.
Mm-hmm.
They have a cup, that's it. No head, like there's nothing.
Mm-hmm.
This one guy from another team, they collided. Him and Georgie collided. Guy gets up, he goes, Georgie is on the floor. And now I'm watching this game with just me and my friend Laura. My parents didn't come to this one.
You were like ready to start a fight.
I'm not joking. I sat there and like I looked at him. Now obviously time seemed a lot slower in that moment.
Like,
it was probably only
Georgie.
30 seconds. In my mind, it was 5 minutes or 10 minutes. And I'm sitting there and I'm looking at him and he's laying on his back and all I see is like he has his hands on his chest and I'm like he can't breathe or something like. Obviously your mind goes 100 different places and I'm like, oh my god, he's not getting up. I'm like now infuriating. Like my ears are red, my cheeks are red. And my friend Laura, she was mad too, but obviously it's not her brother, so it's like
yeah.
So I'm like, Jordan, get up. He gets up and he's kind of still like holding his chest or whatever. And I look at Laura and I was like, I'm going to find that motherfucker and I'm going to knock that bitch out. I was so mad.
A rugby.
Yeah, like 6 foot. I'm 5'1". The guy's probably like 2 something.
Yeah.
And here I am. I'm going to hurt you.
You are my brother.
I swear. Like, but even him just getting hurt, like, I was ready to throw some hands with a college kid. But things like that, like, I mean, I don't think that is okay to disobey the law, beating the shit out of someone who killed your loved one.
Yeah.
I think you get a free pass.
Did more than killing.
You ruined everyone's life in that girl's family.
Yeah.
Parents, grandparents, friends, cousins, a boyfriend if she had. You know, like, you don't just hurt one person.
No.
You hurt them all.
No, but that's what laws are. Like, laws are for the people. Like, it's supposed to somewhat benefit you, but we have laws now that are in place that are taking away those rights, and that's making people and organizations kind of, disobey the law to help civilians, to help the people, that's what the Constitution is about, is to help the people, and we have these laws in place to help the people, but at the end of the day, I think a lot of these laws are just to help higher up people.
100%.
We have like abortion that's going on right now.
Yeah.
Like, it is such a high topic, and it's very discerning to see like a lot of these states swaying in a direction where it'll affect the women in those states. But
ironically enough, made by men.
Yeah.
We'll put that there.
Yeah. No, definitely. But we have organizations that are helping employees that are out of other states, that are in states that may not accept the abortion law, and have them and pay them to go to a state that is safe for them to
which is so sad.
Go through. Like, you just don't know the situation, and like, you're taking away a right of somebody. Like, how are we supposed to be the land of the free when you're giving us
not free?
When you're giving us laws that
restrain you,
that protect our body, but they're restraining us. Yeah,
and it's true, and that ties into like,
no, don't tell me to protect my body.
Yeah, I can do that as long as I'm not. Well, no, we won't even go into that. But but it is true where these laws are put into place, and they're very vague in a sense where it's very cookie cutter. Not every situation is the same. Yeah. In fact, I can bet every situation is going to be different because you have different variables, you have different people involved. Like, you can't say that this law is for everyone. Yeah.
There are definitely laws too, or like, I guess like this is another thing, like sentences. Like, I don't understand how some people have like a sentence of like 2 years and like they raped a kid, but like that's okay. No, like now I'm gonna go into something else. There was a situation that happened in upstate New York, I think by like the Finger Lakes, and there was a raid, like an FBI raid into this house because they had a suspect of kid sex trafficking. And they were following this one guy that they found, like a suspect that was part of this like ring, I guess, and goes in, finds out there are 17 people hurting one girl for 6 years. For 6 years. That this girl has been, like, mutilated. Like, it's terrible. Like, she had no idea. She was, like, probably, like, 6 years old to 12 years old. Like, it was terrible. Like, it was, like, 8 women and 8 men that attacked and used this girl for the 6 years. I'm also, like, paraphrasing this time. The people in the time might be a little off.
A day is still
but
too
it's
much.
No, but it's still, but it was still, like, a group of people. They got, I think, like, 6 processed out of the 12 that they caught that day or something. And it was, like, a short highlight video, and it goes to the end, and it was like, oh, this man will be convicted for 2.5 years. And it just, like, cuts over, and the girl was like, great. Like, she, like,
2.5
years for raping a child for 6 years. How does that make it? It should, at minimum, be the amount of time that you've
been doing this.
You've been doing it, plus 10 years for being a sick fuck.
Considering this poor young girl, for the rest of her life, is going to be so disturbed.
Yeah. No, she's going to have to go through therapy for the rest of her life. She's going to have to learn how to adapt and go to school and socialize and be with people.
Yeah, she's going to have to learn and to live in a normal world when that
she's ruined. But these are where, like, laws, like, that's where I'm like, I would disobey a law. Like, I wish I would just go up to that house and just pop
100%.
all those people.
100%.
No.
That is not okay on any level.
Yeah, that's where I think the death sentence should
100%. Like, there was, where was this? Whatever state it was. Honestly, it might have been New York before New York started accepting marijuana.
Mm-hmm.
And, someone got caught, whatever. I think it was, I don't know how much. Like, not like a room's worth of drugs. It was literally just a small amount. And this man got, like, 10 to 15 years in prison. And it's like, oh, and then this motherfucker gets 2.5 years.
It doesn't make any sense. Where's the laws that are being in place to help the young and the weed smokers?
Yeah, right? Like, this guy was probably just going home by himself and just eating some chips away while watching a good movie. And this poor little girl has to live like this for the rest of her. She is not the same person that she was born to be.
No, her innocence was
gone.
Diminished. Yeah.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, no, it came up at work. Like, it was, like, the briefest thing that popped up on, like, CNN, and I was like, I need to learn more about this. And I went in and read, like, the article and watched the video. I was like, this is like, I was mad. Like, I was ready to become, like, oh my god, like a bounty hunter. Like, I'm really about to go out. Yeah, I'm really about to go out and find all the sexual predators. I'm just gonna.
Yeah, that to me, I mean, like, yes, murdering, not good.
Yeah.
Yes, not good.
I guess to an extent, but there is.
Well, yes, again.
But to an extent, like, when is it okay to disobey the law? Like, obviously that's not okay, and there's moments like where women's rights are being taken away from us. Like, how are we supposed to live?
So that situation, the guy gets 2.5 years. Let's say that poor young girl, let's just say, had gotten pregnant.
Mm-hmm. In a state
that doesn't allow abortions.
Mm-hmm. At 12-year-olds.
First of all, I can't imagine how she must be feeling that this child, which is supposed to be this now, like, great experience in the grand scheme of things.
At a soccer game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And not trying to give birth to a kid who's also half the man who raped one of the men who raped her.
Mm-hmm.
So she could go to jail for an abortion in that state if she had it in that state, but that man gets only 2.5. That's disgusting.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
I think that laws should be way more, what's the word? They should be adjusted to the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yes, there's a general law, but let's take it case by case.
Yeah.
Because not all cases are the same.
Mm-mm.
And they shouldn't be handled the same, because that relieves room for so much error.
Yeah.
Or just miss sentences.
Yeah. I mean, well, that's why, like, the Constitution is kind of so vague. Like it says like you bear arms. Like there's a reason why they don't say like you can't like you
what
can have,
it is.
you can have an AK-15 or you know like you could have an assault rifle. You could have a handgun. Like they don't go down into the specifics because they want to make sure it's as broad as possible because you don't know how evolution is going to change. You don't know how technology is going to change.
Even from the moment they wrote that to now. It's a whole 180 of a world.
It's a whole 180. And like today, like right now we were saying like everything needs to be updated. Like it doesn't make any sense. The Constitution was made when there was like 100,000 people on Earth, and now there's like what 3 billion.
And no let's just say it's cybersecurity. I don't know, someone's hacking into your identity and stole all your money and whatever. Mm-hmm. There was no law for that back then because technology didn't exist. We have evolved, and so should our laws.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
How are you going to have an updated, program on a dial-up computer?
Yeah, why are we creating new laws too, but yet not looking back at like old laws and then just updating them? Like I'm sure there's like a law in Tennessee where like if you strip naked, you have to give a nickel or something. Like something ridiculous.
What law was it? What town is it? I don't know if it's New York or New Jersey, but there was a town where, so back in the day when there were no cars, you had to ride horses. And certain downtowns would have these, like, poles where you would hook up your horse or park your horse, whatever you want to call it. And to this day, if you park your car there, you can get a ticket.
Huh.
Because it's meant for horses.
It's horses. I like that, though. Honestly,
which is cute, but, like...
totally bring back horse traveling.
I love it.
It would probably take an hour and a half for me to get to work, but it would take
me forever.
It'd be a lovely stroll.
Right down 18, you're like,
don't mind me.
Just pass me, it's fine.
While my horse is pooping.
Facts. We were in. My brother goes to school in Pennsylvania, and it's like in the middle of nowhere.
Amish country.
Literally in the middle of nowhere. And I asked him I'm like, what do you do for fun? Like, do you go like downtown? Like, there's no downtown, first of all, but he's like, oh, we don't do anything. And I'm like, oh, okay. He's like, but people do their transportation. I mean, obviously they have cars. They don't live in the middle of nowhere. But a lot of people, he says, he will see them on their horses. Just travel. There's a lot of farmland, but I'm like, can you imagine you're just at a red light and you're like, and you look over and they're making a right turn, and you're just like, hey, like, it is crazy. But yeah, the laws should definitely be updated to the times. We live in crazier times than we did back then.
Yeah. And there's a lot more, like I said, there's a lot more people on this earth than what we've accounted for, 100 years ago. So we should be able to supplement these laws.
As humans evolve, so should the laws. As technology evolves, so should the laws. Everything. Yeah. You can't stay stagnant in old ways in a new world.
Yeah.
It's conflicting.
Yeah, no, and it's about control and power at the end. These laws are coming through where it's not benefiting everybody in that state, and it's discrimination to a sense where you're now avoiding somebody. I think oh my god, what state was it? I want to say, I don't remember what state it was. I don't want to say the wrong one, but it was just like passed like today or this week, where you're not allowed to hang the LGBTQ flag anymore in any public areas because it's a very huge. It was either Mormon or Muslim community, and a lot of those their beliefs don't believe in the LGBTQ, so they asked to not have them on any public grounds. I'm sorry, how is a flag affecting your religion?
That makes
because of your beliefs. Your beliefs are
sense.
They're closed. You're a very closed off, closed-minded belief.
Yeah, 100%.
And if a flag is
that says more about
disrupting
you than the flag.
Yes. Why is a flag disrupting?
A flag.
Yeah, no.
Piece of fabric that represents a community that isn't yours.
That's causing zero harm. Like they are not the ones causing wars or issues or.
That's the thing.
They're just trying to live a life.
Yeah.
They're just trying to live
life. I don't understand if a group of people, could be anything, could be religion, could be sexual preference, could be nationality, a football team, like any group, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you are not hurting me, like physically or emotionally, you know what I mean? Like you're not the group you aren't beating the shit out of me, or I don't care.
Yeah.
I need to worry about me. I can't worry about who you like or who you don't. What?
Yeah. It doesn't make any
yourself.
sense. Yeah.
These group of people, unless they are physically hurting you or assaulting you,
Mm-hmm.
a flag, like really?
Yeah, but even if so, like you're saying, like you're still putting it on a personal vendetta. Like if it was if it was a community issue where they're actually attacking you or something, then that makes sense. Okay, like they're actually disrupting, but they're not.
But
they're just, they have a flag. It's a flag.
It's literally a flag. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
flag. Like what happens if there was like a Playboy flag?
Yeah,
would you be upset? Like if there was like the Playboy, like a bunch of naked women? Like, I'm sure the Mormons and the Muslims or the Irish or whoever, like
the Irish,
they would love that. But yeah, rainbow flag. Ooh, scary.
Like what if they saw literally the rainbow? Are you really?
Do you not believe in a pot of gold?
Like, right? Like, go cry about it. I think people are so invested in everyone else's lives, and it's really sad.
Yeah.
It's like, worry about your own life.
Again, like, don't push your beliefs onto me either. Like, once it's in your home, that's fine. And if you go outside and you want to try and educate somebody on your belief, that's great too, but don't push it on me. There's one thing about pushing a religion on you or informing and trying to be open-minded on the conversation. Yeah. A lot of people can't have an open conversation anymore.
Which says a lot about themselves. Yes. It all comes down to that person. Because if you're so invested in other people's lives and their beliefs and their sexual preference and whatever that may be, that says so much about you. You can't focus on your own self-work. Because trust me, when you have a problem with that, that says a lot more about you, that you need to work on you.
Yeah. And don't push it onto somebody else thinking it's their problem or they have a problem, because they don't have a problem. It's you.
Yeah. Because let's say roles reversed. Someone didn't like something in your religion. And now you're going to stand up for yourself, obviously, and you don't want to be told what to do. Oh, well, neither do they.
Yeah.
I don't understand. I feel like that's a huge problem in our country. Everyone is so focused on everyone else's decisions, beliefs, and whatever. If they're not harming you, which Jane Doe and John Doe like each other in Wisconsin, and you're in New York. What?
Yeah.
Like that bothers you?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
God.
It's not your world. Like,
get a grip.
No, I think that definitely puts like a huge part in like why we should stand up for our laws. And then if it does come to a point like abortion and guns are like hot topics right now, like when is it okay to disobey those laws for the better of not just you but the people around you? It is always about the people. It's not a selfish act. Laws should not be selfish, but sometimes they get put in place by selfish people. And I think that's something we need to look for. And then again, like if it does get passed through, what steps are we going to take to disobey that law or try and reverse it?
Agreed.
So, but that I think that concludes our Q&A and our
second episode.
And our second episode of Guided by the Unconscious. But please let us know your thoughts on what it is acceptable to disobey the law, what unacceptable pets you think
I want to know what crazy.
Because there's definitely a lot of
there has to be.
Yeah.
There's so many people and so many animals in this world. So if you have some crazy story, I definitely want to know because
like not a farm animal. Like they can't be like a typical household pet or like a farm animal like pigs and rabbits and like those are normal pets.
Yes.
I know people with pigs
out of the ordinary.
And yes, very out of the ordinary. Like I don't like large birds. No. Those are not. No. I don't think you cannot like a parrot. Like they live for so long too. They live for like 35 to 50 years.
Are you joking?
No, like they live a very long time. A lot of people who own them die before them, and then like they have to either pass them to a pet store or give them to somebody to take care of them.
I didn't know they live that
Yeah,
long.
they live a very long
That's
time.
crazy. Yeah, no.
So
large
like again,
birds.
like the other thing that just like adds to like another like you probably shouldn't have that as a pet. Like
Yeah.
something that's
Gonna outlive you.
half your lifetime. You know, like that's crazy. But yes, please let us know your thoughts and what other topics that you might want us to discuss on future episodes
Yes.
of Guided by the Unconscious.
Yes.
I appreciate your time, Danielle's time,
Yes.
for
And all you
listening
listening. Yeah.
So,
Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe,
Yes.
tell your friends,
Yeah.
share it, and then always keep out for our next episode.
Yes, and you can find us every other Sunday morning on anywhere you stream podcasts, wherever you listen, we'll be in your ears.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we want to hear your opinions too. So definitely
Definitely.
drop them comments so we can bring it up on our next episode.
All right. Great. Thank you for listening.
Bye guys.
Bye. And cut.